Hello and welcome to the Man On podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the podcast. We're going to be interviewing a number of guests through the journey of doing this. We're going to be focusing on a lot of your key themes. For those that don't know, Man On Inverclyde is a mental health and wellbeing and suicide prevention charity based in Greenock. So a lot of the themes that we might be talking about might be triggering for some people. And we just want to put a wee disclaimer out at the start. If you are triggered by any of the content of some of your discussions, then please get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us through social media at Man On Inverclyde, but also as well you can get in contact with us through email address support@manoninverclyde.com, and we can guide you to what would be the best sort of contact for yourself to do that. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Man On podcast. Delighted to be joined by Darroch and Nicky, both footballers currently playing for Clydebank, but both involved with our charity at sort of different levels, and have done stuff either in the past or hoping to do stuff moving forward for us in the future. So delighted to be joined by both the guys today here in the G4 Claim studio in Wishaw. Hopefully be discussing today the guys' football career. Still playing, both of them, but also as well talking about their sort of involvement with Man On, why they're wanting to get involved in the work that we do, why they're passionate about that, and then what we're hoping to do sort of moving forward. So quite a lot to cover over the next hour or so, but we'll start with yourself. Jamie, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Good. Happy to be here. Thanks very much for inviting us.
Cheers, mate.
No, it's something I've been looking forward to for a wee while, helping out with you guys.
Aye, brilliant, and I know we've been chatting for a wee bit, so It's good to actually see you in person, and get you in here today. But with yourself, Nicky, how are you?
Yeah, all good. Obviously just me and Jamie knew we've been doing this for a few weeks, so I've been looking forward to it. Getting going.
Aye, good mate, good. So we'll start with your football careers first, right? Obviously you're both now playing for Clydebank. How's the season going now? So we're recording this now a week or so before Christmas, so hopefully getting this out this week. Hopefully all good, but how's the season going?
Going well, isn't it? It's going well. I think we're kind of at where we want to be. Obviously, it's still only halfway through the season, but no, we went 7 clearing Saturday, but there's still a lot of teams with games to catch up on, so it'll not really kind of look kind of realistic until probably the end of January or something where other teams catch up. But no, it's going well. I think 2 hours I've been played on Saturday, didn't we? No, the boys get a good win on Saturday. 2 hours were injured, so probably not get back in now.
No, but I was sitting on the bench for a wee while until something goes wrong. But no, we're going well just now. Obviously, as Big Man said, we've been flying, but teams with games in hand as the league table will not take place till really January as everybody catches up. Then
just cancelled games and stuff.
Yeah, people had cup competitions and stuff where we have not. People's got grass pitches, we've got AstroTurf. So we'll not know, but it's going well so far. We're at, I think most cups, it's not went too well in the cups, but league campaigns went well, so it means we can really focus on that going forward, to be honest.
Yeah, aye, because obviously Clydebank in the past have had some amazing cup runs.
I think
Scottish Cup.
Scottish Cup a couple of years ago. I think we went to, it was like the third round or something. We beat off Annan kind of last minute, and then went on to draw Rangers and things like that. So that was kind of your luck. But no, even last year, I think we went to the final of the West and things like that. Kind of get pipped off Auchinleck Talbot. But no, the cup competition's been good, but ultimately everybody wants to win the league. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes and as the season progresses.
What's your kind of, so you play for Clydebank, obviously Nicky will touch on your career in a minute, you've played for Aberdeen, League Cups and stuff like that, but what's it like, what's it Clydebank, like training, how often do you train, how intense is it compared to maybe where you've played in the past, like, because obviously looks like a really proper setup, that we've got.
Yeah, no, it's a proper setup, but we are training part-time, so like everybody else, we train Tuesday, Thursday. Some teams do Monday, Wednesday, but for us it's Tuesday, Thursday, and it's a proper setup, a club with ambitions and stuff. The Jide, he's been in a long time, I've only recently joined, so it's a very good club to look after you well, and it's run properly, and the staff in a really good way, boys, and it's a cracking team, I've got to be honest. Not just 11, see if you look, I think at junior level, most teams have 11, we've got a squad, you know what I mean, so no, it's all done right, and I'm really enjoying it.
And obviously I'm involved a wee bit in kind of youth coaching at Clydebank's youth setup as well, like even at the 09s, 11s, 10s, that age group and stuff, so a good setup. So how long have you been there for?
This is my 8th season now. at Clydebank.
Testimonial thing.
He's hanging in for a testimonial.
If I get there, probably get put down with them. But aye, this is my 8th year, and just what you touched on there, like you've set up and that, like that's something that I've seen since I've been there, like start and its fruition and where it's got to now. Right. Like youth teams winning Scottish Cups and things like that, youth team players coming through and playing in our first team and things like that, and like had the offers to go other places and that. Like we've had a few boys that play in our first team now who are established first team players at other junior clubs, higher levels, and in our first team now as well.
Brilliant.
The youth setup's been a massive thing, and I think home park's busy. Like we don't get on training until 7:15 because there's different age groups on for back of 6, and that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Our 20s playing a Friday and things like that. There's a women's team now and that as well. So
there's a pathway there then, basically.
Aye, definitely. And I think you can see that pathway with the boys that have played in our first team and where they've went in their careers.
Aye, brilliant. So you've been there 8 years. Mm-hmm. What was football like with you before that?
My football was probably similar to a lot of boys like down their town. Do you know what I mean? Like played boys club and played for decent boys clubs like Darroch at the time, Port Boys and things like that. Yeah. Spent a wee bit of time in America when I left high school for a year playing over there, and with a couple of other boys.
One of the scholarship teams?
Aye, so a couple of other boys like Nicky that plays with us, he done it as well, Chrissy Black, and I think another couple of boys have went on to do it, and then went into the juniors when I came back and played for Paul, Irvine Meadow and things like that, and then finally settled at Clydebank. Was never ever good enough to go and make that step. Right. Do you know what I mean? But our level of football is really, really good, man, and I think that gap now between probably our league and the Lowland League, League 1, League 2, there's not that much of a difference
the cups,
now.
Didn't you?
You did. There's been a couple of big shocks, and obviously Nicky coming for a higher level will be able to see probably how decent our level is, and it's probably proved through the fact that Nicky's chose to sign with us this season. Do you know what I mean? He's enjoyed it, he can see the standard, and he's happy to be there. Aye.
So obviously yourself, Nicky, your career starting off obviously Aberdeen. Starting to yesterday, obviously, League Cup, and what was your experiences like there at Aberdeen then? Because obviously you lived the dream, I suppose, for a lot of boys for our town, didn't you, in terms of being able to actually go and make it? Because the chances at doing it are slim.
Slim, and you look at the numbers, it's only a couple in 100 or even 1,000 who make it, you know what I mean? Especially from where we're from. A town like us, obviously I grew up in Gibby. It's a bit of a rough area down the town, but obviously I started at East End Boys Club, and that was me, and there was a few cracking players who played with me, obviously didn't make it for one reason or another, maybe off the rails and that, but what happens. But obviously I moved to Aberdeen, I signed when I was 8 or 9, but you can't go full time till you're 15, so I moved away when I was 15, which was probably, my mum was just loving it, because she always said either get to jail or I'd become a footballer, and thankfully I made it. But going to Aberdeen, I didn't realise, my granddad took me to football. Right. He was a big part of my life, still is. He's the one that took me everywhere, and he said, going up, it's a massive club. But I didn't realise, obviously, a young boy from Greenock, how big Aberdeen was until I went up, signed, went full time. Then once I got to about the first team squad, I was getting pictures every single day going into town, you know what I mean? That's when you realise I can't be a wee bam anymore. You've got to grow up, to be honest, you know what I mean? Aye. And that was good. Then obviously my mates and that come up when I started playing first team. Big Jamie Boyd, John Boyd, all my good mates for growing up. They work offshore, so they were coming up for a day. They're like, we'll go for a wee bite to eat, and they said, Union Square, sorry. I was going to say City Centre. In Union Square, Aberdeen, and I must have got stopped within an hour about 10 times for a picture, and they're all like, this is madness, how are you getting pictures with people? So but obviously going to win League Cup and stuff, it was massive. I always said, if I can make one appearance, what I said to my granddad, if I can score in the SPL and make one appearance, I could retire happy. So I've done a lot more than that, so
definitely.
I've had career.
League Cups, is that probably your biggest achievement?
Absolutely, that was massive. I think Derek McInnes yesterday when Aberdeen played Rangers in the final mentioned it. I think we had 43,000 at Parkhead for Aberdeen fans, and Inverness had maybe 15, so it's a massive day. But still look back in videos, and I'll always have that to look back on and show the kids when they're older.
Amazing, man, amazing. And obviously I think I spoke to you about this about a month ago. It was popped up on, I think it must have been an Instagram feed, but it was a free kick that you'd scored for Aberdeen. You 30-yarder. How many goals did you actually?
I'm not even sure. I mean, I scored for Aberdeen. Only a few, because I didn't play. I was always looking out on the bench, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mostly
break through, wasn't it?
Well, I had Robson, Ryan Jack, Willow Flood, Peter Pollitt and stuff in front of me. That's why I left Aberdeen. I could have got a new deal, but I chose to go to Dundee, and it didn't work out because ever since then my career's kind of went downhill with injuries, and that just happens in football. But at the time I was frustrated, and I used to speak to Dale. I got on brilliant with him, and we still speak now. I just thought at that time I was flying. I thought I was ready to play, to be honest, and I still do. I think I didn't really ever get a run of games where I started 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. Whereas if I'd done that, I'd have claimed a place in the team.
Yeah. Obviously one of the moves that I think stands out when I was obviously looking it up before you came in, but Derry City. So obviously you get fans player of the year.
Aye, fans player of the year and stuff, players player of the year and that when I was over there, and I did really well and I loved it. I only came back actually, it was a bad snow a couple of years ago and you don't, I can't remember. So my missus was with me, so my mother-in-law used to go and put heating on for me every couple of days, obviously just to make sure. Aye, so
I know
so it ended up bad snow, so we had a bus pipe in the house and the whole house collapsed. The only thing we had was beams starting to keep the house standing, the roof, walls and that caved in, so I had to move back to that and obviously ended up looking back, found out we were going to have a rain and I just didn't come back over, but over there I loved it. I kind of, as I said, mentioned there, at Dundee I got injuries, kind of fell away for football, to be honest. I was hating it, just because myself, lots of injuries, couldn't get back fit, injured again. So I was speaking to my agent at the time and I said, listen, I want something different, I don't want to play in Scotland anymore. He's like, let me see who I know, and obviously I knew Kenny Shields from being at Kilmarnock and stuff, phoned him. He said, Kenny, listen, Nicky's got a chance of leaving Dundee, but just a loan deal, because I just signed a 3-year deal. He's like, we'll take him. And that was that. Went to Derry and loved it and did really well.
You're still a wee bit of a cult hero over there, aren't you?
That's it, I'm still well thought over there, so I've been trying to get back over actually just for a visit. Exactly. Always a freebie, so I'll go back over for a weekend. No, I'm looking to get back over, but obviously Derry now, I've spent a wee bit of money and stuff and they're going to challenge for a league. When we were there, we were trying to get in Europe at the time. We weren't set to win a league, to be honest. But we got in Europe and played a few games, which was obviously a good experience for our young boys who hadn't done it before, but it's a great place and the standard's very high over there. People think, oh, it's Irish football, they don't really know much yet. But I said it's the equivalent of playing the championship here. I think so. It's more technical. In Scotland, even at juniors, it's like long ball, fight for seconds and stuff. It's not really teams want to play, but in the League of Ireland, a lot of teams want to play, bar one or two. Some pitches are shocking, which doesn't allow you to play. You need to roll your sleeves up, but no, overall, they kind of want to play.
I mean, you've lived that dream, haven't you, in terms of a career. Even I know you're saying you maybe never got to where you maybe wanted to get to, but to reflect on it now, and obviously you're still playing, but to reflect on it now, it's brilliant for a boy for. Because it's difficult. Obviously, we've got Greg Taylor now who's winning everything that's going and flying the flag. But it's amazing. And obviously now the focus now for you is Clydebank, which is obviously different. But how are you finding that in terms of adjustment? I know you've spoke about the standard being good, but how is it for you playing for Clydebank?
It's good, really good. To be honest, I signed when I was wanting to get closer to home, so I kind of left Arbroath and went on to Keltby in the last season and left there. I just needed to be closer to home for family reasons at that time. So I spoke to the lads who I knew and they had high things to say. I spoke to him off, the gaffer, and it kind of took a wee while to get around to doing it, but honestly, when I signed, I struggled to play. When I was playing, I wasn't great, to be honest. The probably boys are probably thinking, what we signed here, you know what I mean? Because I thought I just couldn't get involved in the game, you know what I mean? I honestly, just when I was playing, it was hard on me. I was showing, I thought I was making good angles, got on the ball, but obviously, you've got to adapt to your team or how you play in that league. And from the end of the season, I think I've been at a high standard, so I'm hoping to keep there, and hopefully, obviously, we want to win a league. There's no hiding away from that, but obviously it's a really good standard. People say this all the time when I've been in Championship, in the top league, Championship, League 1, League 2, hundreds of the league, and I mean hundreds of players could step up, not a problem. And teams, as you said, mentioned a minute ago with Jai, it's when you see in the cups, it's all tight games, you know what I mean? Teams don't get battered because there's not that much of a gap. There's no golfing teams. Whereas I think if we went up to League 2 and stuff, you go and compete, you'd be very competitive. The hardest bit for us just now, I personally think, is getting out the West of Scotland League. You know what I mean? I think that's the toughest bit for us because that many good teams in it.
Because it's a pyramid now, isn't it?
It's a pyramid, so you've got to win the league and you go in playoff, you win to Lowland. But the hardest bit for us just now is winning this league, to be honest. It's a right tough league.
Well, good luck to you. Hopefully it comes off. What about being a local lad, Morton? Did that never kind of come off for you? Was there ever any indication you were going to sign for him? Were they ever interested?
Yes, a few times. It's been so close. I've been in at Cat below and just things that happen. Especially
were you in to sign?
Aye, very thing. I hope Dick don't mind me saying, but well, I think it's no secret. I think they spoke to each other. I had a 2-year at Arbroath and I was wanting to leave and stuff. Obviously I had family reasons, that's why I ended up leaving Arbroath to go to Keltby, but family reasons I still had to be closer to home. So I had another year and I said to Dick Campbell, listen, I'm wanting to leave after we nearly won a championship. Wasn't it fact? I loved it. We were so close, but I loved it. The boys, great changing room. It's the best changing room I've been in until I went off to Clydebank. It's another good changing room. I just get to it. You know what I mean? That's what I always said. It was a changing room. How it got us so far. Then obviously went into Clydebank's a great changing room. That's the best two I've been involved in football. And that's probably why we got so far. But at the end of the season came and I spoke to Dick. I said, listen, I want to leave and stuff. And ended up Dick being Dick's big character. I said, listen, I don't want you to go. I want whatever such and such money. I was like, Dick, nobody's going to pay that for me in a championship. Usually people wait kind of free agents and you sign them up. So he lowered that a wee bit. I spoke to Dougie at Morton. We ended up coming up with a deal. What Dick said, we got a plan in place. We said, right, Morton will pay it. And I kind of, from there, I was like, right, okay. Spoke to Dougie, said, I want this. 2-year deal was kind of basically agreed. And went back to Dick Campbell and Dick just being Dick said, in fact, I've changed my mind. No, and that was it. Dick, obviously, I still got on with him. It was obviously a tough time to take, but listen, he's a big character. I've known him for years. He took me on loan when I was a young kid from Aberdeen to Forfar. He just said, listen, I'm not letting you go here. That's it. That's going to be a rival next year in the league. I can understand that. No problems, and that's it. But so, I mean, Johansson was also a manager there too. I went in to train when I came back for Derry before I signed with Queen of South in the championship. I went in and trained because I know Michael Tidge and stuff. I was like, I asked the guy first I came in just to take over, keep fit. I went in and I thought I trained really well. And he said to me, listen, him and Pierre Houston pulled me in and he said, we want to sign you right away, ready to play. First of January we'll sign. I was like, I'm up for that, let's go. And went in and the money was just, I couldn't sign for the money, to be honest. It was rubbish money. It's not as if I was asking for a lot. You know what I mean? At championship you don't get a lot of money. So all I was wanting to do is make sure my family's okay, pay bills. But I couldn't even, the money it was. But Jans didn't say that, he was honest. He's like, Nicky, we've not got money to offer you. Maybe at the start of the season, what you're wanting we could have gave you. But right now we're not in a financial position to give you that. And I understood that. So it's been close a few times, but it just never happened, to be honest. So now I just need to be a wee bam, getting a cow shed with my mates.
Could have happened, mate. Could have happened. So Fitba's been something that's been good for you both then?
Defo, man. I think it's even away from a park, I think Fitba changing rooms just said hardest and best place in the world at times, do you know what I mean? Like it can be a rough place, but there's nothing better than a Fitba team changing room, man. It's class, and so obviously it's just became a way of your life, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter kind of what level you're playing at. So if you play Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, or you play in the juniors, like you've been lucky enough to play the same as Nick at a better level, do you know what I mean? It's just became a way of your life. Yeah.
And you touched on a changing room, obviously we're going to touch on a bit of maybe some experiences that you've had recently, which is why we're going to be focusing hopefully on a wee bit of partnership working alongside you, getting you involved. But in terms of your involvement with us then, obviously you've been through a bit recently. Has the changing room been a massive support for yourself for that?
Aye, just huge, mate. Like, obviously we'll come to kind of like what happened that in a wee bit. But and not being too over the top like your teammates, do you know what I mean? Like no, everybody arms around you and asking you every 5 minutes if you're alright, like, do you know what I mean? Just knowing that they're there. Do you know what I mean? So no, in terms of the club as a whole and your teammates, like our captain Nicky, like me and Nicky played together now for 8 years, and maybe like a couple of days after that it happened to me, me and Nick went a walk, do you know what I mean? And that's away from Fitba. You build relationships away from Fitba, and then going to my teammates like Nicky'd only started playing with us maybe 2-3 months beforehand, and as soon as he found out, it was a text message, and it was left at, you know, it was never over the top, and a message for all the boys and things like that, and again it wasn't over the top, like wanting to know things and things like that, which wouldn't be a problem if they did want to discuss it, do you know what I mean? But no, just knowing they were there for you, and then immediately going back into training and laughing and joking and things like that, do you know what I mean? Because you don't want to take boys to take that away for themselves just because something a bit sensitive's happened. Of course, mate. And that's, what about yourself in terms of changing rooms you've played in? You've obviously touched on it, both one. What was so good about it? Just the lads were brilliant. Obviously, night suit and stuff, my bro, characters, but it was a close knit. It's like Clydebank, Big Jai, he knows better than me, he's been there for years, but it's a very, very close changing room. And I think Gaffer picks well, because CV did get like a bad egg, it wouldn't last at our changing room. You know what I mean? We tell with Gaffer he's not welcome basically in the changing room, and I think that's why we do so well. But in football, changing room is massive, as Jai touched on, because a changing room can win you points. You know what I mean? As people always say, a good goalkeeper gets you 10, 11, 12 points a season. So it's a good changing room. You know what I mean? You also need to be a good team. Also, see if you're that close to each other. Like, if somebody does your mate, I think going back them up, you're there. You know what I mean? Things like that help. You know what I mean? Which we've got at.
Aye, and I think I was touching on this in another podcast, but even just football for us as a charity, sport for us as a charity, it's something that connects people together in a way. Like we did run a Fitba therapy group on a Monday night, and it is a support group, but because it's Fitba, people don't connect it in the same way. So there's that connection that people have got, that relationship they've got through the Fitba, through the release. It's absolutely massive, and that's one of the things that I'm really keen that Man On does is link in better with the Fitba, link in better with the sport, because it takes away that initial barrier, and creates that space to do it. But no, it's interesting to hear you talk about it, because you're hopeful that, you know, people that have experienced stuff maybe in changing rooms and stuff have got the support that they do, so it's good that you've experienced that.
That's what you're saying, Chrissy, on that when people come to use on a Monday. Some see if it's not through football. Some people might guys not want to go and talk, you know what I mean? And it's just we're going to talk today, like 10 guys playing football. Because it's football, that's I can go here and you're not thinking about anything else in it. I'm just kicking a ball. And that's it. Your head clears for that hour and a half. You know what I mean? Just wee things like that. It's a
conversation starter everywhere, in every walk of life in the West Coast of Scotland. It's Fitba. It's pure ingrained in our society. Like, I went to a wedding at the weekend with my missus, and it was like one of her work colleagues, and didn't know anybody. And then partners of some of these work colleagues through Fitba, you start having a conversation. Next minute your night's flying in. You know what I mean? So things like that, it's a way of our life. Aye,
without a doubt. And I think it's, as I said, for us, it's important we drive that forward. But we touched on it a wee bit, so probably move on to kind of your involvement with Man On, your stories a wee bit, because obviously our work is focusing on suicide prevention. We're looking at our adult services, we're looking at our young person services. So for yourself, Jamie, obviously it's early doors, your involvement. We've had some conversations, you've touched on a wee bit of maybe what's happened with you, but which sort of led us to this point where we're now having conversations about how we can get you to support maybe our work.
When yourselves got in touch with me earlier on, for obviously people that kind of just listening and that, in March of this year, my dad took his own life. My dad completed suicide, and obviously put a video out with our club just to explain the kind of circumstances and that behind it, like kind of for anybody that's looking for maybe warning signs or anything like that might be happening to a loved one of theirs. Like, my dad was a 50-year-old man who never really had any ties, had a good job, loved coming to watch us playing Fitba, massive sports fan, was just always a kind of easy guy, kept himself to himself and things like that, always concerned about other people. And my dad took his own life on the 24th of March this year, totally out of the blue, totally unexpected, and that's kind of led me down this kind of process that I'm on now. Dealing relatively well with it, I think, the new, but again, that's only through the support network that I've got, do you know what I mean, at home, at my work, my own pals, my family, Fitba and things like that. So that's kind of where, looking at it and things like that, and not wanting this to happen to anybody else, and not wanting this to happen to anybody else close to me is why I want to start making some changes myself in my own life, and that's where hopefully with yourselves that I can start to make the changes.
Aye, no, thank you for sharing that, mate. And it's so powerful. Like, we talk about lived experience, and I think whether that be through having struggles as a young person, being able to relate to young people, or through actually a loss of somebody, that feeling that you've experienced in March, and how that's impacted you, to then go and try and think about how can I prevent that happening again, is massive. And that's what Man On was founded on. It was founded on lived experience. You know, my dad had an attempt at his end life. He's still here, but I knew how that felt when I heard that had happened, you know, so it's so powerful. So I'm massively appreciative of you wanting to help your charity and help what we're doing and give back to that, because something as powerful as a suicide loss, it can probably spin people in other directions. But it sounds to me like you're trying to think, how can I channel this in a positive way? Would that be fair to say?
Aye, that's fucking 100%. That's on the money. Like, I think the big thing for me was when my dad passed away. That was 4 days before my wee boy was due. So 9 days later, Jude was born, and I think in terms of the process and things like that, and I was only having this conversation with my missus the other day, like, I think it, like, kind of family and pals and that were like, oh, Jude will be a good distraction for Jamie, like, in terms of the process and things like that, but only thinking about things months down the line now. I'm like, he's not a distraction, he's my wee boy, do you know what I mean? He's my everyday, he's my 24/7, him and Stacey. So I'm like, it's no fair to call him a distraction. Like, if anything, they probably just paused the process. So I know now that I've got a big process to go through in terms of dealing with and things like that. But again, through people like yourselves and things like that, and pals and teammates and that, I think I'm best placed to deal with it because I don't mind speaking about it.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that everybody that goes through it must speak about it, because it doesn't come easy. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
It doesn't come easy, but I think the big overriding thing for me is I don't want anybody to feel the way I felt or the way I'm still feeling. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And if we can stop it happening a wee bit at a time, then I think it'd be a wee bit of positivity.
Brilliant. And I think for us, obviously, what we're recently launched as a bereavement group. So bereavement space, post-venture, we've got a wee bit of funding from the National Lottery to launch that. So that's going to be like a peer support space for people that have lost somebody through suicide. And I think the feedback that we've had from people who've maybe went to like generic bereavement groups, if they've lost somebody through suicide, is they're like, I can't really connect with that because this is different, because a suicide loss is different, you know. It's very different because there's maybe questions around it, there's lots of different stuff. So we're obviously not delighted at the circumstances with yourself, but delighted to get you on board for that, because for me, I think one of the things that we've noticed is that, you know, people won't want to really come forward and talk about this because of the stigma, because of the shame. But if we can put somebody like yourself out there with your story to support others, maybe support yourself in the process, then great. So that's a plan. That's a plan.
No, that's definitely something I'd be delighted to do. And obviously I'm not naive enough to think that I might not need support at some point down the line, do you know what I mean? But I'm fine, and I think if we can help other people to stop other people being in this situation, then that's the goal. But that's a goal. It's not an end goal, as in it will stop there. It needs to be. It's every day. It's every day. Like, I think when I done the video with Clydebank and things like that, the kind of immediate thing after that was really positive, and people sharing some experiences with me, and it was really good, man. Like, that started a couple of conversations, and then I think it couldn't have been a week later. It was the young boy for Ayrshire. I think he actually played with Talbot 20s or something like that. I think young boy took his own life, 20 years old, and I'm like, we're only a week down the line for so much positivity that a wee video done, and then this has happened again, and it's constant, and we need to try and make a bit of a difference.
Aye, without a doubt. And I think your video was very, very powerful, and I think when I had seen it, I thought that's going to be massive for some people. There was another video, I don't know if you've seen it, and it was like it was Norwich City, and it was about
that was powerful as well.
Very powerful. And I think we've got, even just this podcast, hopefully, you know, we're starting to create narratives for people that it's alright to talk about and stuff, because they keep hearing the under-20s player and, you know, the stuff. So, but no, I'm looking forward to it. And it's, you know, what we know about this loss is, this type of loss is, it's not really a kind of linear process. You know, there's going to be coming up for Christmas.
Yep, 100%.
First Christmas, all these kind of stuff. So, we're here to help and support anybody that's been through that, which is why we're really keen on delivering it. But we're looking forward to doing that work with you, and kind of, I don't know what that's going to look like. That's the exciting bit about it. You know what I mean? To see where we can go. But for us, we were really, really keen when we'd done suicide prevention. We noticed there was a big gap for post-vention and support, because that in itself is prevention. I support people for that, because some people are at risk after that too. So.
But no, as you said, we don't know what it looks like the new, if it's something that you've already got going and I can chip in with, or if it's going to be something new, if we start thinking outside the box a wee bit, then hopefully, and if it involves football or whatever, I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Good, mate. Cheers for being honest about that. In terms of sharing it, I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you doing that for us. So, Nicky, over to yourself. A wee bit longer involved with us. Involved in some projects and stuff. What's been your motivation for getting involved with Man On? Because you've been involved in it for a bit.
Yeah, obviously seen the work you guys do yourselves has been superb about our town. Obviously, I think speaking to people, a lot of my friends as well, who struggle but not really say much, you know what I mean? Obviously, you know, it's like your young lad or your boys group chats, you're scared of what people say. It's just a fact, whereas that's what we're talking about, we want to get out there. And obviously, I've seen what you personally do yourself, and some of my wee cousins and that go to his stuff he's doing. I've always thought myself, I'd love to get involved, and when you asked me to come and help at a few functions, I couldn't be happier. And obviously when I've been in, I've absolutely loved it, so I want to continue.
And I think as well, the young people's service we're maybe starting to talk about, but I think the young people, I mean, we can talk about it. I mean, I've not kicked a ball for ages, so I can't even play FIFA anymore, but when you talk about football, they're listening. You know, they're definitely listening and they're engaged with it. So for me, it was like representation. How do we get them to kind of engage with us at a different level? So you've been involved in our Wellbeing Cup, which is our summer programme, which, although the boys see it as a competitive, we get 90 young people together on a midweek in a summer, and they're an age as well where a lot of organisations are now going to get involved with them. You know, they're just like, no, not
that age as well, isn't it?
90 of them are,
well, they're in that age now, all their mates are playing, so I think they'll answer back. They're going to be, it's not all going to be rosy, it's not going to go so well. I mean, people don't see it, they think, oh, brilliant job, that must have went really well, but they don't see what's going on there and then. Whereas you day and you are patient with them, which they need at that age, you know what I mean? They're not always going to be perfect, of course, we're not. So no, I think it's really good what you do for the lads. And
Friday night football, we've been focusing on that, trying to get young people off the street basically, because we know that some of them, it might be, some of the parents have told us that it might be the fact they're on the PlayStations, that might be something that's just annoying them, but some of them are getting involved in stuff. And again, I kind of feel like where I get frustrated a wee bit locally is everybody kind of moans about it, but nobody really does anything about it. And I think we show there every Friday nights there, they'll come if you listen to them and say to them, what do you want to put in place, they're going to come, do you know what I mean? And whenever they do an issue with them,
that's it, didn't have an issue,
get too much pizza or something.
Yes, free pizza, we can't beat that. No, but you'll get a hang, no issue when we ran that for a few weeks there, and plus the numbers you're getting off the streets for the young kids, you know what I mean? They're something to do, that's it. Who doesn't like playing football? I think I said to you before, but I would love to be that age and getting free football, or getting a wee tournament with your mates, going and playing with people. You can't beat it for me.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? Hopefully that will continue going forward.
Hopefully the plan in the new year for that is to keep growing it. You know, to keep growing it, to look at different things. We're looking at maybe even like a wee futsal kind of period of time, try and bring in a new skill for some of them. Maybe looking in the summer, looking at getting involved in maybe some of the other like junior teams locally and stuff like that, and see how that looks. So for me, it's a real good hook, because some of the young people that we're talking about, they're going to be sort of 15, 16. They're maybe not engaged with school, you know. But what I've always said is they're maybe disconnected with school, or they're not feeling school or whatever. But they go to the football 3 times a week, so they're still engaged with that. So what's the hook in that we can start to deliver all of the other stuff? So football for me, for that age particularly, is massive. So looking forward to getting you involved in that. Don't know if you remember, don't know if you went to this, but I did David Proven's football like back in the day.
I can remember briefly. I don't think I went there, but I remember
it. But I remember going to it when I was younger, you know. So, and it's like these memories that are there. So see, even if all they'll remember is getting a Domino's pizza on a Friday night and whatever, it's about creating that as well. But I think there's something special in being able to connect with them, because again, I don't see an awful lot of other organisations doing it at that age. I think they're kind of forgotten at 14, 15.
I agree.
And I'm wondering why there's issues, and wondering why there's stuff. So looking forward to getting that moving.
I'm the same. I touched on that previously when I was 15 or whatever, and I was basically getting told you're getting kicked out of school or go. I think, who was my head teacher at the time, I think they'd phone Aberdeen and said, listen, I was with all my mates and stuff, and I was being a wee bam, like not causing trouble and stuff, but just being loud about the school and stuff, not really listening to teachers, not really doing my work. Whereas now I'd look back and regret that, because obviously only thing I've got to fall back on now is football and do coaching going forward, because I wasn't really sticking at school. And whereas they're at that age now where that's how I think I can go and help them. I've done it all, you know what I mean? Whereas, as you just touched on here, is all they want to do is probably just play football with their mates, and they don't miss a training session. If you look through the course of your season, many times the team miss that. We see absent. He's missed once out the whole season because he's not well. Whereas if you look at school, he's been there once. You know what I mean? So there's that thing, and that's when I think we can help going forward.
How was that for you at 15, having to move away? I know obviously it's worked out well, but
I struggled. I really struggled.
That's young, man,
I was great and stuff. I was homesick big time. I'm a Gibby boy. I was close to my mum and stuff, all my mates. I didn't know anything else. And by then I was drinking all the time before I went to Aberdeen, which people were thinking, what? But that's the way I was. So where I grew up, and I remember being in my room greeting in my digs with you know Big Lee Mayer? It's like his family, Irene and stuff, Louise, they had kids, they looked after me. And I still keep in contact now, I still go up for my dinner and stuff when I'm passing.
15, you're still away, no?
15, especially me, I was pure amateur as well, so you know what I mean? Some people might be here thinking
like the boys you've got on a Friday night, imagine them moving away, do you know?
Some of them, no. And that's what it was, I was in there greeting and stuff, and I was like, after a while, I started sticking. My mum was like, no, Nicky, it's the best for you going forward if you want to be a footballer. So I was trying to be positive, get into training and stuff, and I just had enough. I just said to the youth team manager, I've chucked it. And he's like, me, what do you mean? I was like, I'll not be back. I'm going to get first train down the road and that'll be me. He's like, you need to think about this. So he's like, me, I can't remember who the first team manager was, but they all came in and said, listen to me, man, go home, take 2 weeks to yourself, try and get your head in a right place and come back up. That 2 weeks I just spent it drinking. So I had to stay with my mates. My mum didn't know I injured it and I'd get battered. So no, I was staying up with Gibby and I was staying with him camping and all that and stuff. And Peter Weir is a legend at Aberdeen, won a European Cup. He was the one that got me full time because I was so wee. It was, will we take him or not? It was one of them. It was till last minute. And he fought for me, to be honest. So he came down, got a hold of me, and my mum's, I think I was drinking actually, and I threw my can of cider away before he came down. That's never did a lie. And I can, I must have sat with him for 2-3 years, just sat here and I just broke down to him. And I said, this is where I'm at in my life and stuff. And he was brilliant. He's like, no, you've got a chance. He's like, I see something in you. I believe in you. And I've got everything to thank him for. I went back up and I kind of spoke to him about it. I was young, I didn't want to speak to him about it. I was in my room greeting. I didn't tell him this. And that was it. From there on, I just kind of kicked on, got in about the first team and didn't look back. I loved Aberdeen as a place, you know what I mean? But I was still homesick. I missed Greenock. First time I've ever been there because I was never on holiday. You know what I mean?
Aye, but it's young, isn't it? And as you said there, Jamie, like, and thinking of some of the young people that we are like connecting with, and if you were to say to him, right, you're moving away for family, and
that's it. It's not as if you're going in a hotel and stuff where you think, right, it's just me in this room. I'm going with another family and stuff. You know what I mean? So there's times I was kidding on. I was at the start when they made my tea. I was like, I'm not well, can't eat because I didn't want to see him. You know what I mean? Just wanted to sit in that room, and I was just like, what am I doing? So I ended up obviously fought through it and it worked out well for me, you know what I mean? But as you said, you imagine people going for Greenock where it's just their family and stuff and saying to them, you need to go away, it's you. You know what I mean? You might not get home for months, you don't know when you're getting home. You know what I mean? Because obviously as your young boys, if Aberdeen were playing the Sunday night, you were in all weekend, you were doing all your jobs, you had to clean your bins and all that, clean all your boots. So there'd be sometimes I wouldn't get home for months.
It's a fair commitment, but again, it's worked out well, isn't it?
No, that's obviously I'm thankful I've done it, you know what I mean? And that's why hopefully like helping the next boys, hopefully when we're doing the football, if some of them's got a chance I can talk to him about it and obviously help them. Yeah. Brilliant.
So obviously we've got a good discussion here around man on, getting involved, supporting what we're going to be doing moving forward. One of the things I wanted today be getting used to both together is we know that some young people are listening to our podcast. We've seen that with the last one we've done with Reece McEwen, and we also know that some of the adults that have listened to our podcast for their daughters are obviously listening in. Come to the kind of adult side first. Maybe even somebody that's had a bereavement maybe through suicide. What would be your sort of message to them if they're listening to this and they're maybe they've seen that you're on it? Oh, I might listen to that because I've maybe lost somebody. What would be your kind of message to them?
I think probably for them and obviously the person that's struggling is like don't see it as a negative that you maybe want to chat to somebody. Don't see it as a negative that you maybe want to seek advice for somebody or come to a support group that you put on or other great charities that put on. Like it's all to stop the end bit of what's happening, do you know what I mean? Because what it leaves behind is so hard to describe, Chrissy. It's so hard, man. So like, go and seek a wee bit of help. And I know it doesn't come easy to people. Like it wouldn't come easy to me to come and ask for help, but I know that it's probably the best thing for me if it's something that I ever needed at some point. Do you know what I mean? Like, or do something to promote like positivity in your own mental health and things like that. Like, I think as a society we're so quick to send pictures of ourselves at the gym, like taking care of ourselves physically and things like that. And I ran a 5k in this time and I'm at the gym 3 times this week. So why not do stuff to promote yourself mentally? Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I think we see it a wee bit of a stigma, and batting that stigma away is probably the big thing. So if it was going to be, listen, I'm no perfect at giving advice or that, it would just be go and chat with somebody. If it might be a stranger, it might be a work colleague, a teammate, or somebody like best place like ourselves at a support service. Yeah,
brilliant. And hopefully if people are listening, you know, like we've found that the first step we always say to people is the hardest one, because you're on your Todd. We've seen people kind of half chat on their door, in Nelson Street, and then, well, is that somebody there? Are you coming in? Or, I was going here, but I'm not going here, or whatever. That step's the hardest, because you're doing that on your own. Most of the time, some people bring somebody, which is fine. But the other steps, when people come in with us and get that support, the other steps we take with them. We're on that journey with them, and I think that's what I'm proud of the most in Man On, is the fact that nobody's a number. It's not like you've got 4 weeks with us, then you're out, because we need to get that revolving door everybody else in. So if people are listening to it, if it has been somebody that's experienced a suicide in their life, or even an adult that is maybe, sitting struggling, thinking about it, there's help there from us. There's lots of other charities, even locally in Inverclyde and wider. You've got your Samaritans, it's sort of 24/7 as well in terms of helplines. I
think a big thing as well is like, you say like people maybe half chat in the door or something, like something I've found obviously for speaking with you and meeting you, and I know obviously Mark Sparky works with you, like Sparky's a very good friend of mine. Like, in these charities, it's normal guys like yourself that are there to help. It's no, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a doctor sitting with a checklist or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Going through and how you're feeling or something. It's just somebody there to chat. What's up, mate? How are you? Do you know what I mean? And that could be me sitting there in a year's time. It could be Nicky. It could be anybody at all. So coming to speak to guys like yourselves isn't any different for me speaking with him on the car or the way to training. Do you know what I mean? It's just somebody else to have a chat with.
And I think that's intentional, because the reason people like Sparky and that's involved, and the other people that's in the team is because that needs to feel as much normal as possible. You know what I mean, for want of a better phrase, because people have been through that kind of clipboard process where, it is that sort of time sticking, and you've got 1 more minute here and there we go.
100%, man.
It's like revolving door stuff.
And I think that might add to the heightenedness of, I don't really want to go because it's a big serious thing and things like that. Obviously it's a serious subject, but when you come and you talk to somebody normal like yourself, or I'm talking to my pals about it, our work colleagues, or I'm talking to Sparky, it becomes, and we need to try and normalise it, but it becomes normal just to have these conversations.
Definitely.
And I think that's probably it.
Aye, without a doubt. So hopefully if anybody's listening, they can take a wee bit for that. The door's open. Every Monday we run crisis support from 10 till 8 o'clock. Our doors are open the rest of the week. We've got groups on the rest of the week and stuff like that. So hopefully people take a wee bit for that. They'll come to yourself, Nicky, you've touched on a wee bit with young people. I know you're obviously doing a lot of work with yourself. You're doing some of your own kind of coaching and stuff like that too. For any young people that's, any young person that's maybe struggling just now, it would be a message for you to them.
As Chai touched on, it'd be speak to people. For me, I was back when I was in Derry, and nobody knows this, but I'll say it. My wife knows, and my mum and my mother-in-law. When I was in Derry, I tried to take my own life. And I blacked out one night. I was struggling when I left Dundee, mental health. Just when Jai's touched on it, I think I probably should maybe speak out to you. Obviously, I'm going to try and help people. I was in Derry and I was struggling badly, and my missus was near me at the time. And there's a big bridge over there, and people in Derry's one of the highest suicides, I think, about. So I read it all the time, you're in the papers reading it. And I can't remember, England were playing, I think it was at Euros. And I went on the bridge, I blacked out, and the next thing I know, some guy had saved me, tried to jump in the water, and woke up next morning and stuff in a hospital, surrounded by people from Derry City. And I was just like, what happened? And people, so the guy who kind of got a pose and so on, he was there, and I just thanked him to save my life. And I phoned, they obviously, when I was away with it, they'd phoned my missus and mum and stuff, said, listen, Nicky's in a bad place, so they come over, and it was just crazy how it happened to me like that. Obviously now I'm very good, but then speaking about it, I try not to speak about it probably, but obviously now, I didn't speak about it then, but now I can speak to my family and stuff about it, and it's still hard, but I think speaking after that happened, Dodie and Kenny Shields, who was the manager at the time, obviously a lot of people know him, they were brilliant for me. Got me a place called Cest and Derry and stuff, even my teammates and stuff, none of them know, even all the coaching staff, it was just close, I didn't want them to know at the time, and probably because what we're saying is, I didn't want everybody knowing, you know what I mean, I wasn't ready to speak about it then, whereas now, I get emotional stuff thinking about it, but I can speak about it, you know what I mean, whereas if you're young people, I think you've got to speak out, because that builds up. It built up in me since probably Dundee, and I remember I was like, I'm injured, I wanted to retire, I was like, I'll go somewhere else. That's when I said to my agent, let me go somewhere else, and that might be just kick me on again in my career, got injured again at Derry, and I just like, I think it all built up on me for ages, and I didn't speak about it. So I think I just thought that night, that's it, I can't. That's probably, because football's all I live for, to be honest. Obviously, now I've got a family and stuff, a couple of kids, which is, life's brilliant, it can't be going better for me. No, you know what I mean? But then, so if I was any young kid, I would just speak, whereas if that's in football, speak to a coach, a family member, or even school, so you don't want to speak to family members, they might think I'm embarrassed. Go and speak to a teacher and stuff, or even a friend, and they can maybe mention it for you. You know what I mean? So there's lots of people you can talk to and get lots of help, especially with yourselves.
No, cheers for sharing that, mate. I appreciate that, big thing. And I think that's really important to note, because my vision of you playing for Derry, because obviously you used to see you on Twitter and that, didn't you? Like, I'm Nicky doing well again or whatever. You know, you would have a vision that you're sorted, you're settled, you're loving it, you're flying, like even just looking on Wikipedia even, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's really, really important for me, and that's why I'm so grateful you sharing it, because you just never know what's going behind closed doors with somebody.
Oh, that's the thing. Social media, as Jai said, see that social media, and I'd probably say when I was in Derry, and I still do it. I post a lot on Facebook, like football stuff, because I'm proud of it. I love, that's all my thing, so they share that on Twitter, Facebook. Whereas I was there myself, and my sister couldn't get work, I think it was, so she took a few months to come over when I was there myself. Whereas I was in a room myself, a house myself, and that was it. What did I do now? I'm finished training at 12 o'clock. You know what I mean? I'll go to the gym, finish for 1:30.
Yeah.
I'll go and get some eat with boys, I'm finished for 3 o'clock. And I'd spend lots of time in the bookings and stuff too, which obviously isn't a good combination when I was feeling like that as well. So no, I'm just glad that I'm in a better place and I can speak about it and hopefully help people going forward.
Aye, definitely, mate.
Definitely.
That's a big thing, man.
Without a doubt. And I think two of the biggest themes that I've noticed when I started this in 2020 is isolation and loneliness. And people have a vision of what isolation and loneliness is. It's like, you know, maybe the poor guy that lives in the street or whatever's getting back to himself, but actually it can impact anybody. You know, you're just talking about it impacting a footballer there, you know, and that for me, that kind of been on your Todd with your thoughts and your feelings.
Dangerous,
you know, one of the things I've heard for you, Jamie, is a support network that you've got around you supporting you with that, and a lot of the people that we kind of speak to, and I know you've got a great support network, but you were just circumstantially isolated at that point, but a lot of people that we support actually don't have that. You know, and that's where I think people like your manager and that at the time and the other people that's run about, they've obviously gathered round and supported, and that's where again going back to how proud I am with man on stuff, we can be at support network for people. I think it's really, really important to touch on that though, because a lot of people feel that, and that's why your groups are so powerful, because you're sitting in a room, a guy will walk into a room, they'll maybe share something, but I think you would have had that going on, you know.
So that's why I didn't say for ages. I remember actually I'd done, when was it? I spoke to the press before, and the guy, I don't know if somebody had mentioned it previously, which probably somebody shouldn't have. And it was when I came back from Derry, I was signing with Queen of South, and I was in the port, Starbucks at the port, is that what it is? Up at the retail thing, Costa. And I was in there doing it with a boy, I can't mind his name, and he asked me about it on the spot, and it got me.
Aye, it got you.
I was like, how do you know? He's like, I'd known somebody that was full over there and stuff, and I was like, so I started speaking about it. Then after it, by this time I was still struggling, this was years ago, and I was like, mate, you can't put that out. I was like, that'll break me. You know what I mean? But then, because I didn't know, he just hit me with this on the spot, whereas I was like, no, nobody's known about this, whereas when people know now, you know what I mean, that good network support about it, whereas you're saying here, you have got that for other people, with that person who might come and speak, they can go back to the house and think, like, I've nobody now, that's me again, so they could just break down again, whereas if it can constantly go to use, they can feel like I've got somebody in my life where it can help me and get better.
100%, mate. 100%. And I think there's a perception of football players that they've got it sussed, isn't it? Like it's I mean, don't know if you remember last year, or it was this year actually, the Dele Alli stuff that came out of Dele Alli and his story. And there's a perception there, I don't know why there is, but you know, there's going to be people in probably every dressing room, changing room, and struggling.
100%, and like, I would never ever obviously mention names and things like that, but
of course,
boys that had maybe messaged me after I told my dad's story was like, tell me their own experiences, do you know what I mean? And obviously I'm thankful now that the boys see me in a better place and things like that, but you never, and I think we obviously focus football wise and things like that, but probably in every profession there's somebody like, oh look at him, he looks quite successful, he posts this, he's away on holidays for his missus and his weddings and that, but it's probably feeling a certain way, do you know what I mean? And don't know, there's such a I think there's such a big stigma. I hear it quite a lot where people say like, "Oh, he's got mental health," or "She's got mental health." Like, it's quite ignorant because we've all got mental health. Some people have positive mental health times in their life. Some people have really tough negative mental health episodes in their life. Do you know what I mean? And it's if you're lucky enough to have a support network, or you do things to help yourself through it. And you said that the boys get in and they're like, "Oh, I don't have a support network," and they're just kind of maybe clambering for a normal person to speak with. That's you behind that door in Nelson Street, which is the big thing. Like, if it's just a conversation with a normal person, and the next minute they end up going to the Friday night thing, or they go to one of your support groups and they just start building themselves back, and then that negative mental health time period in their life goes away and they go into like a positive time in their life. Not to say that it won't come back, but then you're best placed to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's obviously Nick's like massive to share that sort of story. Do you know what I mean? That's something I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? And that was a time in his life. Like, he had a negative time in his life, and obviously now he's got a lot of stuff going for him. Aye,
without a doubt, and I think that is it's where it is at that moment. And you've touched on a really good point. Like, you know, we can have our mental health could be good, and then something happens.
100%.
March, an incident with yourself, and it's like, do you know what? By the way, I need to get myself in a better place here, or else this is going to dip. And I think that's one of the things that we talk about a lot is the stigma that's involved. You know, you've touched on it yourself there, Nicky, and even sitting in with that guy in Costa who just sprung it on you, obviously. And that stigma's, it's still there for people. You know what I mean? It is one of the reasons that suicides happen, and not a lot of people have an understanding that it was going to happen. You know, some people speak about the randomness of some people's suicides as well. You know, and I think it's clear that it's there.
Well, I think that for me, we're talking about randomness. You know what I mean? Whereas, if you know, people's always doing well, and you have bad moments. But for me, at the time, I was just constantly bad, but I can't remember myself saying, right, I'm going to want in my life here. There's no period for that for me. It was like in that house, and I just blacked out. And I remember, because the next day and stuff, that you all come back and it's all come back to you, I got pure embarrassed. I was like, everybody see me like that, I'm in a hospital, all my managers and stuff. No, I was like, random guys saved my life. I was so embarrassed. Then obviously I had to go back in my car. Obviously I parked at the side of, it's a wee roundabout in Derry, but a big roundabout. I obviously had parked my car there and walked onto the bridge, thinking that was it, you know what I mean? But it's just, it's crazy how, like, where you can be happy, then from there on, how much you can just dip. You know what I mean? That's where I think you need that constant support if you're really up and struggling, where it's not just one, as we said, you're looking at a clock thinking that's it, time's up. You know what I mean? You need to get somebody else in. You can constantly go back and get help. So for the first bit for me it's the first part is walking through the door, as we touched on previously. You know what I mean? And asking for that help. And some people do get embarrassed, which there's nothing to be embarrassed about at all. And that's it. You know what I mean? You just go,
like, with my dad, look, that was the Friday night, the 24th of March, the Friday night. My dad was at our game on the Tuesday night watching us beat Pollock, and spoke to him on the way home after the game. He's like, brilliant, what a result. He's like, brilliant, let me know if anything happens with Stacey. Like, obviously Stacey was kind of ready to give birth, and then that was it. Do you know what I mean? Went to speak to him after our game the Friday night, and then that's obviously when I got the news. He was there watching us playing football, something that he does every week, 2 nights before. Nobody would have thought anything at all. Yeah. And then that happens. So as Nick says, it's that randomness. How did that come on? Do you know what I mean? And it's, again, explaining to people what it leaves behind is so many questions. Yeah. Questions that you're never ever going to get the answers to. You probably won't unless you've got kind of maybe inside knowledge or whatever, but it's the randomness, and then it's what it leaves behind is the questions, and somebody who then might go into a negative mental health period in their life. Yeah. Not so much a domino effect, but if we can do things like this and stop it happening, then hopefully.
Aye, without a doubt. And I think that's what really throws people, you know, is when a lot of people never seen warning signs. A lot of the training that we deliver talks about warning signs and talks about stuff, but when you're actually in the training with people and they've got that lived experience, they're like, never had that. Aye. You know, I never really had that. So many stories about, spoke to the person a couple of days before, and never knew. And I think that's why suicide, I think, is that sort of loss that sort of has that ripple effect with people. And one of the bits of research that we know is people are at more risk after a suicide as well. So it's really, really important that we've got that support there. It's really important to listen to what you're saying as well, Nicky, about taking that step. But I also think it's important that organisations such as ourselves make that step as easy as possible for people, so that it is inviting, because I think a lot of services, mental health services, I mean, I've been through a mental health assessment myself in the past, and it's you're looking at a waiting list, you're having to wait till they're ready to get you in, you're needing to kind of date, I need to go out of here in 50 minutes.
No.
You know what I mean? I need to be
exactly,
ready.
Yeah.
And or unless, and things can change when people, I mean, particularly for a young person service, we know young people who have been on waiting lists for like 18 months and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
How is that?
When is too long?
No,
do you know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
18, somebody might be prepared to wait 18 months, somebody might not have 18 years.
Yep.
Yeah,
do you
exactly.
know what I mean? And
yeah.
like, this is coming on top of me right away here, like I need help now.
Yep.
And that's like, and I know for speaking with Sparky as well, that obviously it's your job now, do you know what I mean? And you have finishing times, but the amount of times I've went to talk to Sparky and he's like, mate, I'm going to be late from work, I'm in dealing with something.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? And
we've been in late.
that's not somebody like, oh, by the way, I'm finished now, mate, I need to go, like, I'll catch you tomorrow for the rest of how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye, and I think that's really important, that as much as we can say to people, take that step, I think it's important that we've got services that are ready to be here for when the step's there.
100%.
It's not just a case of having to phone at 8 in the morning to get a GP appointment, and you miss it and then you're back in that queue. Reinforces a lot of that negative stuff for people, reinforces the isolation and loneliness. So I think it's important that, and that's where our wellbeing plan comes from, I think, is about trying to actually create spaces and provide spaces for people that, look, I'm struggling, I need to come and see you. I need to be here, in our relationships.
Yeah.
So I know, I think that's really, really strong messages, and thanks to both of you for sharing parts of your personal stuff, because we know that people connect with it. We know that people connect with that kind of lived and shared experience. If anybody wants to reach out on the back of any of that stuff, then just let us know. So moving forward with Man On then, we've obviously got some plans to get yourselves both involved. We're going to be breaking up for Christmas. What's your sort of festive football looking like? He's playing a lot, he's training.
Got a friendly.
We are in Thursday
training,
training, friendly Saturday. I think we're in once between Christmas and New Year, but we play on the 30th. We play Old Firm Day, in fact we play Largs.
I think we're in 28th, maybe.
Aye.
Then we play Largs, and that's us back at it from the 30th.
Which is always tough against Largs.
Yeah.
Always really tough against them. And then come the first week in January, you're back at it. So you probably get a night off in between the two.
So not much.
No, a couple of years ago, Nicky was there. The gaffer, we were flying in the league. I think we were second in the league. Got to the third round of the Scottish, and we were just about to play Annan after New Year. And the gaffer gave us a full 2 weeks off, and we come back first game of January and get scudded 4-0 away at Denver. He's like, never again. So we shot ourselves in the foot. That
everybody milked that 2 weeks.
Aye, cheers, Jai, yeah. No, I mean, never in. Cheers.
Aye, so no,
That's like graft.
That's never happening again. So we never got it.
Aye, so you've got stuff over the next few weeks, but then I'm hoping in the new year we'll start to look at a lot of this stuff, whether it's yourself and the bereavement work in the group that's going to be happening through that, which I'm looking forward to. I know a few people have referred and signed up and we've started looking at that, so looking forward to that, and obviously yourself, Nicky, in terms of continuing and growing some of the football ideas that we've got.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Brilliant. So guys, cheers for your time, cheers for being honest as well, cheers for opening up, because I know that I know it's not easy, do you know what I mean? I know it's not easy doing this, because I've had to do it myself for different things and dig into my stuff, and I know it's not an easy process, but I really appreciate you doing it, because I know that you are doing it to try and help other people, and it's massively appreciated. So cheers for your time and good luck with your seasons.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers, thank you. Cheers
Cheers,
for having
guys.
us.
Cheers.